good. Shouldn't be asking about that. We're talking about morality in politics. This is a topic I like a lot to talk about just because it's something that's different in different places. It's something that I find different students have different opinions of, and yet many times universal opinions of other aspects of it. The presentation is very good, by the way, thank you for it. A couple definitions, just for fun, to kind of set the stage for them. Politics. I like to define politics, who was it? Jack Candy used to define it as, breaking it down, poly and ticks. Poly as in many, ticks as in blood-sucking insects. But in reality, what is politics? Politics are people that we elect or that govern over top of us. Maybe not even just through election, but the people who govern over top of us. Morality. We had a definition of morality here. I'd like to propose to you that morality must be along some guidelines. There must be some universality behind morality. And we can get into the philosophical discussion afterwards during the question and answer time if you'd like. But I'm proposing that at this point just for the sake of argument and basic assumption. We can talk about it afterwards, but the basic thought is this, is that if there is no standard, it's very difficult to define if something's right or wrong. If we're talking about morality within politics and there's no standard, then it's very difficult. It's much too, shall we say, Buddhist in that way. And there's only effective and ineffective, there's no right and wrong. And I think that's a dangerous place to go when talking about morality and politics. Unless you're a politician. Wrong or evil or bad. These are things that are not just unacceptable. That's one people may try to define as being unacceptable. But it's not just something that's unacceptable. Something that's wrong here. Evil is it's just wrong. It's something that is morally corrupt. There's something wrong with it. Raping someone. That's not right. You can justify it, oh, it's a cultural thing or something, but it's not right. And there's something within us that knows that. And that's why, although there are many philosophical arguments, there's not very many people who can justify their answer why they raped someone, and you say, oh, that's okay. That's acceptable. But philosophically, you come with some reasons. Oh, there's some tribe somewhere that they do this. They kill people in this way, and it's fine. But when you talk to someone that just had their family killed, you don't turn to them and say, oh, that's okay. That's not morally wrong. Okay? So, the church, we'll talk about the church today. This is not just referring to, of course, the church is built on the past. We're talking about universal Catholic Church. But then, now the church will represent, we'll talk about the separation of church and states. And the church is going to represent religious organizations, whether Protestants, Lutheran, Catholic, all of them together. But we need to define also that this is going to be the mainstream, the ones that are acceptable. You're going to find some weird churches that they hold snakes or get bit by things and stuff like that, and the modern church doesn't accept that as being appropriate, shall we say, practice of the faith. Okay, so we're not looking at those. We're not looking at cults. We're not looking at cults at this point. Although some of these laws do apply to cults who sacrifice animals or things like that, or just simply lie and deceive with fraud. We talked about fraud the other week. We're not talking about those at this point. We're talking about ones that are acceptable by the universal church in that way. Freedom from religion or organization. This is an organization that it's very atheistic. They were the ones who ran the lawsuit that you read about for this week. They say freedom from religion, but I'm going to debate that a little bit later on. I'll debate that a little bit later on as we look at it, as we examine some of that. But it's a main organization that runs with that. Tolerance. Tolerance. Any guesses? Tolerance? How would you define tolerance?
Ability to forgive somebody.
Ability to forgive someone. That's an interesting one. Ability to forgive somebody. Okay. Good. I like that better than the definitions put out by the Freedom from Religion organization. They define tolerance, or a common definition of tolerance today is simply accepting and approving of other people's actions. But I don't think that's a very good definition of tolerance, because you're not going to find people that accept of differing opinions. With political things, much less with morality things. So maybe forgive something. I kind of like that tolerance there in that way.